like Zeri here is gets locked in. Now you talk about some of the pick potentials for the Enchanter here. But again, hard when you consider that Blitzcrank the Sivir has to do too much, so the Karma instead for a bit of a 2v2 kill lane.
Flex lane.
Yeah, also just something you can just get a lot of push with in the bottom side, right? And I think that's kind of the creme de la creme of Sivir Lulu is that you just get all this attack speed. Sivir pushes out the wave really well. You just get to scale out. But when you're relatively short range, Karma can actually look to try and bully you. So curious to see exactly what the plan is. That is not what I expected.
That is an Amumu.
That is an Amumu. Ludwig is in the house.
Okay.
Wait. Is it Lulu top for Mirwin and it's a Mumu support?
You know what? Thank you for making that note. I get
there was like a steak there with cooking, but you know what? You just added all the herbs, haven't you?
I just came in with the barbecue sauce, slapped it all over that thing.
Carrots for some reason we rest the potatoes. Look at this meal. Dig in, ladies and gentlemen. As Smoller gets banned away, I tell you what, the Knight and Fork are already up because I'm thinking things are getting a little bit more exciting without that scaling little dragon brat in the mid lane.
I mean, there's a lot of scaling in this game.
There is.
And I think the great thing about both Skarner and Amumu is they're just very good at being able to start off fights, making things happen. The Polymorph, though, potentially an effective answer into this Skarner, as now fans continue to make their way forward. Remember that Fnatic will have to blind pick their top lane, so they're removing some of the annoying answers to relatively safe blind picks that they could go for. Gnar makes a lot of sense. Could be suggesting that Fnatic's thinking about a Renekton as a possibility.
Yeah, I think it's more than likely looking at something like the Renekton that you're probably going to go in the top side.
Good.
They just talked about Zac on the desk, and if we're talking about pairing with Skarner, big front line has access to back for the Sivir as well, and the Enchanter.
They've limited the mid lane pool, so that means that Koi definitely thinking about what they're going to go into the mid lane next. Maybe they go safe, something like a Victor. If they want to go for more of a traditional scaling mage, this way going to be removed. So what is it?
Right, okay. Doombi effect is added in with a front to back rise.
So this is very much a side lane threat. Humanoid, this is the Anivia angle, right here.
I was going to say it could be the Galio angle as well, but I think that's going to be locked in because you kind of get the immediate pull from the Skarner into the Galio afterwards can also work, and also provide a lot of space in a relatively...
top. That's something Oscar actually was a big fan of. And
yeah.
Okay. They've decided to move away from
but they might sit towards it.
Yeah, they still might go towards it. It's just the ability for value to be got from Gragas isn't that high in this game because it's the Sivir going to be able to spell shield it. You'll also whoever you hit will then just immediately wall growth and then be able to just provide a big massive amount of CC in the middle. So it looks like it will just be the Jace instead because I think just the lack of cask value makes Gragas a bit unfortunate here.
I will say, I don't know if I like Syndra here. I think Lulu does a really good job of mitigating the burst of Syndra, and it's good into the matchup, but Amumu can also make it very difficult for Syndra to play the game.
I think it is a kite composition essentially for Fnatic where it's using the Karma to, hey, we're going to fish for poke with the Jace, poke with the Syndra, and then just look to outmaneuver the...
That's a good last
yeah, the Sivir, but yeah, there you go. Last pick was the immediate lockdown because I was going to say you need some here if you hope to close that distance because that's exactly what MOVISTAR Koi needs to do.
Koi just build up a 1-3-1 for us for one of the rarities in comps?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Casters, take it over.
You're right, Finn. It should be a 3-0 really for Koi if you look at how they were up in those games. Fnatic fought back game 1, game 2. Game 3 was a stomp, a washout, and now they're saying on the desk, and you guys too, that this draft stomps Fnatic in game 4.
I mean, look, they said the same thing about BDS. BDS won all games against Fnatic, but it's Fnatic who are still sitting there in front of you today. So, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but you should have ended the game. And unfortunately, MOVISTAR Koi didn't. And now they need to start that reverse sweep. One step already in the right direction, having picked up game number 3. But now they must win 2 more to Fnatic's 1.
I mean, Alioya, at the very end of the previous game,
happy birthday,
typed that the reverse sweep was coming. He warned Humanoid, his former teammate, and we'll see if they can hold true to that promise. The swap has come through from MKOI. They've sent their Sivir and Lulu up towards the top sides. They want to avoid Zeri and the Karma. We've been seeing a lot of swaps in this series. Mirwin, is he going to start with the E at level 1?
I do. Maybe get an early flash out of walls right there. Could be an E flash as well, but instead going for the far wall onto Humanoid. Gets stunned up, doesn't flash. Nice damage from Koi, but again, nice resilience from Humanoid.
It's not the end of the world though for Humanoid. Like, he still outranges him, so it should be fine. It's just going to be a bit frustration as Oscar starts to move down now to help out as well.
Wants to do the same thing as well. Oscar joins in, Q poke is there, and Real too. Razork and Mickey taking away enemy blue, while meanwhile, the sad loner in Elyoya is walking over a ward. So Koi don't know that Fnatic are trying to bait and bruise this in.
Yeah, I think Elyoya's just going to go for the split map though. Going to look to try and steal away the blue. Mickey helping on the opposite side to steal the way to pick up the pace for Razork so we can get onto the map a little bit faster. But yeah, nothing too unusual here in this sort of split map scenario. Everyone just playing to get what they can in this moment.
Now, while we were hyping up Koi coming into this game, just a reminder, when they've last faced off, this has happened. Every single game has gone to a Game 5 in those last best of fives. 2023 season finals, winter, season finals again. It's been 2 years of this, and it would be funny if once again we get delivered a Game 5 as Oscar's just going to zone out JoJo.
I mean, it's looking to be heading in that direction. The history between these two teams is that it's always been a battle between them to see who can represent in the finals and challenge the Titans that are often G2. We'll see if history looks to repeat itself, as so far in this game, small advantages, I would say, gained for Koi, just because they were a little bit faster on the swap. Oscar Rinnan still hasn't actually hit level 2, but he should be safe on the top side of the map because now he's going back into standard lanes. And there we go.
Yeah, Miran though will still have the level advantage. So basically MOVISTAR Koi sacrificing half a level on Supa to gift it to Miran so we can hit level 3 and try and punish in this matchup incredibly well. But you know, to see that Elyoya is on this top side of the map, so maybe looking for a little bit more if Oscar Rinnan starts to try and push this lane, especially as Miran hits level 3, full access to his artillery should be good.
Just notice that Elyoya a bit behind in CS there, gents. So Elyoya's invade is deep venture. It seems like he's a little bit behind as well as Humanoid. Just onto JoJo, good scat of the week, or rather sidestep. JoJo in the end as Razork can't do anything but drift by.
Not quite able to connect means that JoJo Pion going to continue kind of punishing the fact that Humanoid had that early misstep against Miran. And now Humanoid going to reset early to make sure they can TP back in and cash this full wave without much trouble. But on the bottom side, Mickey's
trying to sidestep. Boomerang Blade is out, heels burnt. On one side, on both. Looking for the tether. Mickey's going to find it here. The barrier's up, but Alvaro's slowed. Good damage here from Fnatic duo.
The thing about Karma is that because her Q cooldown is relatively low, there's little that Lulu can actually do to stop it. So you can just keep harassing, and it's very difficult for Lulu to trade back. And again, we talked about range. There's quite a range difference between Zeri and the Sivir, which means that you're very reliant on getting those bouncing blades, using the minion wave. Keep my eyes on this top lane. Elyoya is hovering around, but overall trade's going in favor of Fnatic.
Oscar Rinnan might be in trouble. E and the max range extended, and no bandage shots for Elyoya.
Yeah, it was just nice job by Oscar Rinnan to get away from that, but on the bottom side, Fnatic got both of the offensive summoner spells out from MOVISTAR Koi, so both the barrier and the heal, whereas you're running the cleanse for upset. So in the grand scheme of things, it is actually still a win for Fnatic, especially to keep this threat up. So MOVISTAR Koi have to be a little bit careful how they opt into these fights from now on, as they won't have that luxury anymore.
Just a side note as well, CS difference between Mirwin and Oscar Rinnan right now. A sizable amount, as you already talked about before, Dag. It was a sacrifice at a level that came from Super, so that Mirwin would have a little bit more. He's suffering in the bot side. CS difference isn't that big as he just heals up some health. Remember, that's no longer a mana shield that gives return. Quick side note while you guys were also talking about Karma. Every time you land an ability, 4 seconds off that ulti as well. So if you land that Q, your ulti just goes down further and further until it's spammable and becomes even more annoying for Alvaro, as you just saw there.
Yeah, JoJo will start to lean from this top side, from this mid lane though. He set up a ward, just the back of the red here, and this is basically going to be his access to the bottom side to look for that potential realm warp when he hits the level 6. Maybe a trade for Void Grubs if they want to try and go for it, but Elyoya is still threatening, onto this top side, means that they will probably look for a bit more pressure there rather than looking bot side.
Looking at Mickey moving into the river. He's going for a bit of a cheeky flank.
Oh, Alvaro might be caught over the wall. Flash burnt immediately because on the top of that Soul Flare, the second proc would have hurt Alvaro, and Upset was rearing to go.
I mean, nice play there from Fnatic's bot lane duo. Alvaro taking over to level 5, helping him out a decent amount as well. Of course, with no things like Ignite, the kill threat is lower, but overall, single grub was secured by Razork. He's looking for a play.
Drift King running into the turret. Does he care? He has no ulti to bring back, but Scatterleaf was there. The flash from Jojo, and Razork has to match it. Nice Rune Prison.
Beautiful outplay there from Jojo. Thought this could have been a first blood angle for Humanoid with his ultimate available and the spheres stacking. Could have been it, but nice response from Jojo to keep himself safe.
Yeah, Humanoid didn't want to invest the flash to try and follow up on it, so it means that Razork ends up having to use his to escape. That could have been the immediate CC into a chain kill, but still, Razork going to be able to back away, continue to farm up his jungle, and now it's just Jojo Pyun, who's a little bit less of a threat if they try and go for any sort of play mid or potentially bot.
We did talk about how volatile Ryze was, and especially in the early parts of the game, so at the end of the day, you raise valid points. The fact that Razork's flash not going to be as worth as Jojo's. You know, in this early game, things are a little bit stable. We've had very bloody early games, but the fact things are going stable when we talked about how these side lanes pan out does feel like, again, a benefit for Koi.
I do have to talk about top lane, though. The observers just showed it for us, and this wave is in a horrible state.
Good point.
The level 6 versus level 5, there is a full level difference, and Oscar just needs help, but he's not getting it. Look at the minimap right now. The Ryze has moved into Fog of War. The Amumu is hovering. It's just such a horrible state for Oscar to be in, and he knows that he is just bleeding farm.
However, Jojo just lost his flash, and he's been caught out. Scatter the Weak there, and Impale and an Unleashed Power just waiting on his head. He won't leave here alive. Realm Warp for Nord, and First Blood for Humanoid.
Jojo takes the risky path and he gets punished for it. Also, the Realm Warp being burned off the back of that is just salt in the wound. That's horrible for the mid laner.
A much needed play for Fnatic, just because of the sheer amount of pressure that was being put onto Oscar in that top lane 1v1. It hasn't alleviated the pressure. This is already a difficult matchup, and now there's a 2-level discrepancy between the top laners, but at the very least, it's reduced the risk of Jojo making that ulti play top and making things even worse for Oscar.
And it just means that as well on bot side, you can start to play way more aggressive. You can use this Karma to push in waves, start to take chip damage on the towers. Like, this is the bread and butter for Ryze, but it's not working out now. Mirwin, get some pressure onto Oscar then.
With Grasp as well, just wants to get that stack, and his minion wave is clearing out, so Mirwin can lose a couple of minions at the cost of this trade. Oscar again all the way to the left side of the wall, but Grasp reaches him eventually. 2-level lead between top laners.
I was going to say, if that actually connected, I think Mirwin just goes for the all-in with the ultimate and takes it, because you don't have that knockback. That's why Mirwin wanted to play aggressive on it, and Oscar didn't have no flash. There could have been a very dead Jace in the top lane. Oscar not in a good shape at all in the top side.
Kind of a reverse of what we've seen so far in the series, right? Fnatic always playing for these bot lane dragons. Koi always getting early grubs, at least the first 3. In this game, even though Koi got early grubs, I mean, surprisingly,
so far,
despite the game.
Koi's just getting everything.
They are getting everything, so it feels like
I mean, I think Razork has to accept... Oh, hang on.
Does Jojo have to die here? That's the next question. Humanoid doesn't have ulti, otherwise it might have been so. But Mickey's damage already, as you expect to Karma, just as you get levels, that hurts. They are getting everything, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea was that Razork at the very least gets 1. He realizes he can't contest because of how strong this Camille is. So he denies that first objective, but the dragon going down in the cross map, it's just a bit of an awkward spot. Still, first kill, though, goes to Fnatic. They have a small lead for the time being.
They do.
Across the map, though, everything is largely even. Because with Humanoid getting his advantage in mid, Mirwin is getting his advantage in top. The difference is, I would say, Mirwin's advantage is a lot more terrifying.
I think the thing for MOVISTAR Koi, though, is the lack of jungle support that we've seen in this game versus the other 3 games in this series. Because Alvaro's on the Lulu, he is way less effective working alongside the Amumu. Traditionally, we'd see Lulu and Zinzao, or Lulu and an auto-attacking jungler, but you just don't have that threat, really, which is why Mickey, with push, has been able to at least lend a little bit of help here in mid.
And here he is again, right? And Jojo might be dead because the orbs are down, the ult is unleashed. And Humanoid, it looks easy here. The longer this lane goes, the worse it is for Jojo.
I mean, this is the risk when you don't have that flash on Jojo. The setup is traditionally quite simple on the Syndra. But Humanoid didn't even need to use the QE combo. Instead, he just let Mickey set it up for him. The ultimate comes through, and they find themselves another kill.
They just wanted to get any grub here if they can manage it. Snipe just out of range there, because you can see Upset looking for plates on that bottom side, and MOVISTAR KOI have rotated everyone up that's at least alive to try and cover this at the moment. But it is still a 4v4 as Jojo Pyun makes his way to the bottom side.
And Miwin joins in as well. He's just trying to help out with the grubs, but LEC looking for the turn. He's got Curse of the Sad Mummy available, and he's going to make someone surprise party indeed. All it takes is an engage as Razork looks to go in first. Bandit shots doesn't connect though, and they turn back for the grubs. Now on the TP, KOI want to go in, and Miwin starts it off. There it is. It's a sad, sad party. A wild growth set up as KOI just haven't done the finishing damage though, and here comes Zeri. Upset is rolling the fight, and although it looks great, it looked like a perfect engage. A Realm Warp has to leave. They didn't even bring the wine, but they're running out the front door before it ends.
I think it was the stun from Humanoid that just completely shut down that follow-up. Razzle, Miwin.
No ulti here, but Oscarin might be in trouble. However, it's Upset who's still sticking around. Miwin thought he could find it onto Oscarin in the trade, not there yet. Flash! He wants to gun on Mickey! The blast going! Gets it anyway! That was egregious, but it is a shutdown for Upset.
I cannot believe that Miwin got the kill off the backside. But coming into this timing from Fnatic was sick. Storm Surge immediately picked up off the TP from the Syndra in the mid lane. So this is why Razork was trying to commit to it. But here we go, Vedi.
Look at Humanoid with the 3-man stun onto the backline, the suppression as well. Connecting onto Miwin, reducing the amount of damage he can do, and then Upset with the flash play was crucial. Fnatic, a few individual plays there turned what could have been a massive team fight for KOI, and they find themselves with 5 kills in this early game.
And I'll be the first to hold up my hand. I looked at that start of that play and I was like, this is Fnatic running into bad spots again. But understanding the reset timer on Humanoid for the Storm Surge, having that incredible knockback and Upset flashing in at the end. Brilliant stuff from the Fnatic carries.
I mean, these couple of early kills, I might add, for Humanoid that have also made his impact that much greater.
They certainly have, and the only thing I wanted to add is, like, we've been saying it all split long, but I feel like we've got the new version of Upset. You know what I mean? The hyper-aggressive playmaking individual that he has become. He plays with nothing but confidence, and the idea to just flash into the face of Super, commit the ultimate, and then clean up the rest of the fight. 3 kills for him. This Zeri is in a prime position to carry.
Well, a 2k gold lead for Fnatic despite not really having the early objectives. We talked a lot about KOI's position. Jojo's scared of his position on the map right now as around the Syndra. Fnatic start grouping up, giving Humanoid space, time, effort, energy. All it is right now for Fnatic is making sure that KOI feels scared to go in.
And they do. Super.
Super.
This is not where you're supposed to be.
No, he's not. He just ran into Fog of War and into the enemy, into an Impale as well. Super duper yippity-doo. What happened in the end to you? LEC as well won't be caught out, but Humanoid just zones. Next Dragon's up in 15.
I mean, we've seen how KOI play when they have the early game lead, but now it's Fnatic in the driver's seat. And KOI, they're making mistakes. Super's positioning there. He was too far away from Alvaro to get the ultimate from him to buy a little bit more time. But even if he did, I think that still would have resulted in his death. First tower of the game looking to be secured by Fnatic.
Well, Humanoid, at least one grub is going to help out as well. First turret not going to give gold bonus as it used to back in the day for you old timers, but still a turret nevertheless pushes them closer towards 3,000 gold. We talked a lot about comps, but for Fnatic, I mean, I guess we can consider the fact that Humanoid Upset would be this far ahead this early as well and give Fnatic so much burst power in the first 15-20 minutes of the game.
Incredible stuff. I just wish we got this Fnatic more often, because this is the one that I want to try and believe in. Like, this is the team that came off of regular season and was like the first place team. The only team, like, they just had everything. It looked like they were going to be the team that could match up against the world, but stumbling against BDS, a loss to G2. It's just hard to fully believe that sometimes they can actually carry this game forward, but from this position, it is definitely in their hands. And it's on MOVISTAR KOI now to start looking for these picks, looking for positions where they can get LEC in to set up the fight in their favor.
Ultimately, I still like KOI's composition, and that's crucial because you still have this Camille who has a lot of kill threat onto the Syndra. You've also got a great engage tool with the utilization of the Amumu, and the ability to play 1-3-1 is going to get harder the longer this game goes. So I will say that the responsibility is on Fnatic in this matchup to keep the pressure going and maintain the lead that they have.
Scuttle Crab chasing Humanoid, or at least Humanoid been bringing it with them, but doesn't want to try and approach that top side, knows there's multiple members of MOVISTAR MKOI in the area, so going to play it safe. Rift Herald up and available, but I'm keeping my eyes on Jojo. Has a position here where he could potentially route more people into unusual positions, but Alvaro sitting on that top side on the reset means that this is going to be a Fnatic objective, and MOVISTAR MKOI are going to have to look elsewhere for their dinner.
Feels like Humanoid's just so strong. 80 Splinter stacks, by the way. 120 is where it maxes out, and that 15% AP comes in. He's already got Storm Surge, 9 stacks of the Dark Seal. Needlessly large sitting in that inventory, and they've got the boots upgrade. Fnatic have just taken away so much in the early game. First time we've said that this series. 3k gold lead, Herald in hand. They got the last dragon as well. Mid turret is only hair's breadth away from dying.
Do you think he's going for a death cap second?
Would you?
I mean, Shadow Flame?
Yeah, I mean, Shadow Flame would make sense.
Yeah.
I'm just asking. We'll see. I mean, it would make a lot more sense when he actually goes back to base and buys a second item. A lot of things built out of large rod at the moment. But the problem that he finds himself in is that he's actually matching up against the Camille. I say that though, like, this is the problem they're going to keep running into, is that neither the Jace or the Syndra really wants to be in this matchup, and you kind of always have to shadow them. If you look at his positioning on the minimap, he is hiding underneath his tower. Yeah. He can't really afford, and Mickey has to hover topside because the threat of a dive is incredibly real. So you leave Jace isolated on the bot side of the map, you've got Upset kind of solo clearing in mid, and he can't really compete with this wave clear yet anyway. So MKOI, even though they find themselves at a deficit, still have easy access to just get control over the map because of the pressure they can exert in the lanes. That
little tip of the point, exactly what you're talking about. The wave clear from Super already there, as mid-wave might not be the biggest of their concerns. Super's on the hunt already. Razork flashes in. Curse of the Sad Mummy used defensively. His Upset gets the half HP. Impale, his spell shielded. Jojo Pyong comes in and Razork's tool is down. Upset is down in the second if he stays in the fight, but Elyoya has to be Wild Growth. He's running for his life, but if he's tethered, he'll die. And he saves a play, but he cannot save his own life.
MKOI end up being caught in the river. They turn it into a fight without Mewin. He's such a crucial piece of their damage in the early game. Elyoya ends up connecting three of his bandage tosses. And just, there's very little follow-up from MKOI. Fnatic continuing to extend their lead.
You just don't really have the damage there for MKOI as well. Super only on that 1.5 items, whereas you look at the 2 completed items for Upset now as well. Jojo Pyun, he's got Rod of Ages, right? Like, and it's only just completed off of that reset, so he's not really in a position to follow up. So for Fnatic, it was just perfect timing for them with that TP as well.
He's going Death Cap.
He is going Death Cap, okay. Nice.
Well, he's going to have damage.
Yes.
I mean, wow, okay. Humanoid playing with nothing but confidence here, especially given that he's got 7 stacks on the Dark Seal too. Fnatic riding that wave with a 4k gold lead. Let's look back at the play.
Yeah, and you can see here as they go in. So Fnatic trying to start this off. Upset immediately getting access towards Soup and hitting 2 with the ultimate's great. The cleanse to get away from Elyoya, but it's the TP from Oscarinen that makes it so easy because it's 4 out of 5. And as you say, spell shield's there, but Elyoya goes on to Upset, but Supa can't get into position. Jojo Pyun can't get into position, and they just don't have the damage to follow up on what Elyoya is trying to achieve.
The re-engage comes through because he sees the Realm Warp, and Camille is on her way down as well, so they think that they can create a turning point. Unfortunately, just when he goes in, he realizes, no, this is not happening. So another fight won for Fnatic. Dragon in about 1:20 seconds. We'll likely see that shift of control towards the bot side, and as I say that, you can see the recall coming through from Mickey. He sets his sights on the mid lane, and Alvaro is doing the exact same thing.
Also, I like the way Fnatic are playing at the moment. So, as you said, Death Cap going to be coming up for Humanoid as the next, but look at where they're positioned. It's Mickey and also Razork playing up onto this top side, so our Humanoid can actually approach the wave and looking for a potential turret take, more gold funneled into this Syndra, so you can complete that Rabadon's Death Cap as you start to get these big objectives like Atakan and the third dragon potentially in a few moments up and available. So definitely Fnatic hyper-focused on getting that Death Clap for Humanoids.
Death Clap, I like that because Fnatic, those brushes are so dangerous as well. Those chokes are so dangerous with the Skarner, with the Syndra. MKOI trying to buy time, as we talked about. Mewin getting some damage down on this bottom side turret while Oscar plays defense. Atakan is top though this game, and teleports are going to be crucial. Mewin right now has an edge over Oscar, while Jojo and Humanoid are still up in this top lane nearby.
Humanoid, I'm keeping track of his gold. He is very close to having it, if he doesn't already. And all he needs to do is go back to base. Dragon is spawning. Keep your eyes on that mini-map as well. I noticed Camille constantly hovering in this river. This is a really big point of power that this Camille can use. You can keep threatening the potential of a collapse. And so Oscar's always forced to follow because he's aware of that. But wisely upset paths towards the top side of the lane just so that he has that extra bit of distance so that he's slightly closer to his team and he's further away from the enemy.
You can see the way Fnatic are responding though. As Mirren starts to teeter up river, they don't go for anything too aggressive. Now they're actually just going to go for the dragon into Attica trade, but playing away from Mirren, because when he finishes his second item, he has one-shot potential onto Upset. He has one-shot potential onto Humanoid. But if he's never able to play the game like Upset was in the Draven, you don't have to worry about it.
If they can open up mid here, it feels like the Atacon trade for the Dragon might be okay for a comp that wants to just keep buying time. Super's going to take up the turret, but eventually it drops down. Mid is now open for the side lanes, more importantly. Bot turret as well. Atacon is a trade there. It's Koi. I don't know if I'm unhappy with that.
I gotta say, like, what do you use this Atacon buff for now as Fnatic? Because you don't really have the pressure on side lanes to threaten the side lane turret. Mirwin is too strong. You don't get the wave clear into towards Supa, so you've lost 2 towers and a permanent buff in the Dragon. I just don't really see the value you're going to get from Atacon.
Well, Humanoid has death cap, so he's about to say, I'll show you the value right now. At least I imagine that's their game plan. They've set their sights on the top tower. Notice that they are playing as a 4-man unit primarily. This is how you try and shut the split push down. You attack one of those side lanes rather than trying to match them. Of course, on the other side lane, there's a shadow coming in from Elgoya as he looks to try and cover Meowin, potentially to find a target out of position.
But that's the thing, you kind of need to win out on the wave clear, but you've got this Sivir, you've got the Rise, the wave clear is gone, and now you've just got Mirwin who continues to push, so in theory that's how it works, but you just don't get to from here.
Oh my god, Alvaro almost dead. Redemption's going to heal him up. I guess that's what they do with the Atacon buff deck. They're like, well, we've got to push this turret, we're going to find some picks. Humanoid tanks up a little bit as well.
Keep your eyes on the bot lane because the TP is going to come through in his Jace.
Okay, Humanoid is on vision, so they know he's coming in. Mirwin just trying to get out of there. Wait for the hook shot, walk shot, while the rest of Koi look for the turn themselves, but Razork just does it first. Jojo now coming in from an angle while Super uses in the fog of war this choke to start bouncing the blades. These are good picks while Mirwin dies bot, yes, but 2 kills equals 400 gold over to Koi for the price of 1.
At least you get 1, but it's...
Didn't they get 4?
Maybe
they did.
They did. They ended up getting 4 off the back of that.
You get 1 on the bottom side for Fnatic, but they got every Atacon buff. So this is the trade that I was mentioning. Was I don't think this is valuable. Atacon is a temporary buff you need to immediately get value out of. MOVISTAR Koi immediately got value from Dragon, Tower 1, Tower 2, and now they still end up winning out on the gold as well.
And remember, we talked about this composition. The composition from the side of Koi, you have great wave clear thanks to the Civet. You also have great wave clear from Rise, as long as he can get close to the wave, which is typically one of the scary things to do against the Syndra. But when you pair it alongside the Civet, you're actually a lot safer and you don't run the risk of getting stunned up. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Mirwin is drawing 2 people. Exactly as Dagda is saying, you're splitting this composition that's trying to force objectives. You're not really getting much off the back of it. Now, the good news is for Fnatic that their gold lead hasn't actually shrunk. It's largely stayed the same, if not grown. They find themselves at a 4.4k gold lead, and the Baron is spawning soon. This is how you can force the split pushes to come to you. You can get the exchange and leverage the fact that you have this itemization and gold advantage. But as I say that, you look at the bottom of your screen, 2 items are being matched on the side of Koi, so I don't know if they're even that afraid of trying to find a fight right now.
Super knows that Humanoid's there angling. He was on a ward. Bravely walks by with Alvaro by his side, and Razork just tries to get deep vision. The split push will continue here, waiting for the wave to come in top.
I do think this is a mistake from MOVISTAR Koi, though. I think always having Mirwin as a split pusher is far more dangerous than having Jojo Pure in that position, because he can push, sure, but he's never actually going to threaten a tower take or potential tower dive, and that's why Fnatic now feel a little bit more safe to continue pushing up these waves. Baron is spawned. Jojo Pure probably has to commit his TP here, although that ward is doing so much work for MOVISTAR Koi and letting them know exactly what Fnatic are up to.
Really good point there, Dagda. Gives them so much control. Look, they don't have to worry. They can back. Jojo gets pushed. He backs calmly, probably towards his 3rd item. Rodave just stacking up. And again, every moment that we come back to this and we see that Koi are buying time, it's a positive, right? And everyone at home will be like, they're 4k gold up on Fnatic. Yes, that Syndra's very strong, but keep watching the game and keep watching Camille. Great point as well. Ravenous with the wave clear, plus the sustain in the duel is big as Razork walks into this brush. Poke tries to connect.
That's a crucial blue trinket there on the top side to spot out the Camille coming in from over the wall. Fnatic are going to concede space in the jungle as Mirwin continues to make progress.
I'm not so confident of Fnatic being able to win out these fights anymore, though. 3 items now for Supa. He is quite strong. Plus that Rod of Ages is about to pop over for Jojo Pyun, plus 2 items for Camille. Like, Fnatic are kind of playing this like they still own the jungle, but
gold lead is deceptive.
yeah, it's a little fake. Yeah.
We've already talked so much about this composition, and it ultimately will come down to execution, as it often does. Draft will help you to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, the hand's the most important part.
Jojo.
Speaking of...
Can't get caught out here. Oscar's over the wall. Jojo, come on, not again. Scatter the Weak is there, and he's rammed against the wall. Big mistake from the new mid laner.
The rest of Koi was backing away. He decided to clear the wolves, and he made himself susceptible to getting picked off. This pick could have been all it takes to be able to open up the game.
Well, he's going to have bigger words than that, because Fnatic have just taken down one of the biggest parts and one of the most important parts as they head towards Baron and stuff.
Be a massive take, although third Hextech Dragon going over to MOVISTAR Koi is nothing to sniff at, but you can try and get value from this as Fnatic, as Humanoid going to look for Mirwin. He's going to have company coming in on the top side as well. Mirwin turns.
He's just got to go in. Maybe just has to hold. He's waiting. Poke dodged away from heal there. Scatter the Weak though, and Humanoid's just out of range. Unleashes power, but still not dead yet. Mirwin's trying to buy as much time as possible. Hookshot, walkshot goes back in. Mirwin ultis onto Humanoid amongst everyone. So close. Humanoid doesn't burn a thing. He stands his ground and he stands proud.
The knockback was crucial there, but point taken from Fnatic. Mirwin is a problem if he can get onto some of these carries, but unfortunately he just wasn't quite able to do so in a couple of these last engagements. And MOVISTAR Koi losing Jojo Pyun in the jungle, with Baron now gone across to Fnatic. Can Fnatic actually get value again from this temporary buff? They need to push MOVISTAR Koi back into their base, clear all of these outer towers, because in 4 minutes time there's a Hextech Soul available for MOVISTAR Koi.
Fnatic found a very valuable pick, but Dagda is right. Fnatic can't afford to rest on their laurels. This game is not set and matched just yet. And the Sivir wave clear is very much going to be tested right now.
True.
For those long-time League fans, you'll remember the reckless 500 CS Sivir win condition.
Classic.
Because that champion was designed to hold the waves. So far, though, Fnatic, they secured 1 tower. They're looking to make it 2.
Trying to make those 4 grubs work as well for Jojo in the side lane, but Humanoid, yeah, will make it 2 indeed, as last of the minions cancelled out in mid. Fnatic group up as 5 and uses Baron buff to push in, and Jojo now needs to retreat and come back, because this will be an inhibitor turret for sure. And who knows what happens with mid as well as Upset moves over.
This is huge for Fnatic, though. They struggle against the wave clear, as Betty said, but Baron is making the difference here, and that's 2 towers now gone.
Step up to the minion wave. Elyoya is battered. Center wave. Razork is in the base by himself. In Super goes, but he's wild growth to kite back, but Oscar can't find him. Good kite, good shutdown as Upset now as well. Battered by the ulti, the Camille. Mirwin joins in. They've still got fight left in them. Flash roar from Jojo. Razork has to match it as well. Mickey running for his life, and they went a bit too far. Man, Koi were there waiting.
1 step too far was all it took for Koi to find a winning team fight. They protect their inhibitors as Oscar goes for a hyper-aggressive play onto the back line.
Yeah, and Razork, you can see here, tries to get the Impale down, but flashed away by Elyoya. And then Elyoya goes in, but cleanse flash from Upset, but it doesn't matter. Upset gets caught again, just on the edge of that bandage toss. And Supa able to follow through. Mirwin dishing out damage, and the AoE is huge in front of that turret.
Remember what you guys were saying coming into this, there's just certain champions you have to pay respect to. The Amumu burns the flashes, the Amumu creates space Vedius. And once the respect is given, Mirwin could tear the rest apart. Gold lead shrinks a bit. Baron power play, thanks to Red Bull, only at 500 after that defense.
And Supa is going to be creating holes in Fnatic now. That's the Last Whisper fully completed now.
Oh, yeah.
And Supa's just going to continue to run through members with the Mortar Reminder? Whatever it is.
Lord
anyway,
Dominic's
but Lord Dominic's, thank you.
It's okay.
But yeah, you're just in such a strong position now to continue this push into the top side. And now Upset has no cleanse, no flash. So if Elyoya can find that big ultimate once again, there is no safety net for Upset apart from the McHales on Mickey that's about to tick up.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like a broken record talking about the comp from Koi, but it's really important that
It really is.
you recognize, like, even with this gold lead, it isn't quite enough to guarantee Fnatic's victory. They need to find another pick like they did earlier, as Jojo has now equalized the level difference. And again, you look at those items and the itemization really isn't that dramatic between the two.
It's a 2.5k gold lead, but a lot of that's going towards a Blinding Jewel and I guess the expensive item that is Rabadon's Death Cap, right? I'll also add in that we've got Dragon coming up in a minute 10, and while you stress that, yeah, comp is so important, this comp feels like, again, setting up with a Sivir and into this big 5v5, we are going to see all holds barred thrown into this potential soul from Koi.
But it's also like, how do you try and contest this as Fnatic? Because you're going to get pushed from Mirren on a side, Supa easily clears mid, Jojo Pum pushes in a side, and all these waves now are suddenly hitting your towers as you can then realm warp back to the Dragon as Movistar Koi. This tempo play you can work with is going to be huge, but they're actually using Jojo, it looks like, to try and shadow on top side. And it's going to be Supa who's just clearing in the mid.
I mean, they can do some sneaky stuff. We've seen many crazy caps rise plays.
Ah, yes, I'm with you.
And we know many other mid laners have been able to achieve a similar thing throughout the world. Like this Rise ultimate is so powerful. And look, he's shadowing, just as Dagda was saying, he's now made his way through. You can TP the minions underneath the towers, remember, as well, if you want to try and go for those fast tower sieges.
Here we go, the ult from Mirren.
Wants to engage. We're not going to find Oscar in a good spacing as per usual, just like this game. Oscar on the J is going to poke out, and he means a bit of business now as well. He's going to chase this up and onto Mirren, gets the Sterix Gauge shield. That's big before a 5v5 as we speak of it, and Fnatic are turning the play. On bot, they've found Upset with an ulti, firing into LEC, and LEC's ulti doesn't hit. The knockback is big, and Upset, the new addition of Fnatic, is rolling over their reverse sweep chances. He cleans them, he shocks them, and Fnatic just play the map better. Jojo, where do you think you're going? Back to NA!
Movistar Koi tried to make the play in the side lane, but Fnatic read it in the 3v3. Fnatic beat them, and now, as they march towards the Nexus, Fnatic might just win it.
This was what we were waiting for. Fnatic to wake up a bit, and in this game it seemed topsy-turvy, but the Lion has roared its last, it looks like, in the lower bracket. Top 4 silences. Mirren was a big hope in the side lane, but silenced as well. Fnatic at us in the first half, but they always find a way back in. Resilience is rewarded, and Fnatic will get a chance to make another finals, locking in their face-off against the Blue Wall tomorrow.
The GGs come